The Iraq War by Tatum, Brandon, Amber, and Michaela. The prime concern for the United States was to stop Saddam Hussein's power in Iraq. The United States attempted to closely monitor weapon production in Iraq to ensure that there were no serious threats to the United States and their allies. Iraq eventually refused this, leading to the United States and Britain to order airstrikes on the Iraq. The Bush administration said that Iraq did have weapons of mass destruction and that Hussein intended to use these on the United States and their allies. Bush officially pronounced Saddam Hussein as a ruthless dictator who treated his people terribly, turning everyone against him. News was heard that Iraq was linked to al-Qaeda and weapon inspection resumed. This led to no discovery of weapons of mass destruction or links to al-Qaeda, and this intrigued the United States to intervene, intending to stop the threat of terrorists. The United States invaded Iraq and took down Hussein's government. There was still no evidence of weapons of mass destruction or al-Qaeda links. The Bush administration was falsely justified. Iraq broke into groups after the war against the U.S., but also against each other. The Shia and Sunni Muslims' tensions intensified after the United States invasion. The Sunni Muslims were against the U.S., but also the Iraqi government. Al-Qaeda developed after the U.S. invasion. Bin Laden cut ties between al-Qaeda and AQI to increase Muslim support for al-Qaeda versus the U.S. Effects of the U.S. military were significant. The United States forces played a complicated role in Iraq. Many groups throughout the regions opposed the United States' involvement in the Middle Eastern, and in this conflict, politically and economically strained countries and their relationships with each other. People were more vulnerable to join terrorist groups after the war, and the government never fully recovered, especially the Iraq government. After the U.S. left Iraq, terrorist groups grew stronger. The population dropped significantly in Iraq after the war. The terrorist group AQI eventually became ISIS, or ISIL as we know today. The Iraq army, trained by the U.S., were against AQI or ISIS. Not all people believe that Iraq produced weapons of mass destruction or were linked to al-Qaeda. People argued that the U.S. only focused on this to gain power and control over oil reserves. On February 15, 2003, millions of anti-war activists marched against the war between Iraq and the United States. This was the largest protest in history. The Bush administration argued that it was necessary for the United States to take action. When this happened, many people blamed the United States for all of these new issues that occurred.